In today's interconnected world, traveling has become a common pursuit for many Americans. However, there are still certain destinations that remain off-limits due to various geopolitical reasons, security concerns, or diplomatic tensions. In this article, we'll explore 10 countries where Americans are not currently allowed to travel, providing insight into the reasons behind these restrictions and what you should know if you're considering international travel. Number 1. North Korea. North Korea, officially known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is one of the most infamous and restricted destinations for American travelers. Due to the fraught relationship between North Korea and the United States, the U.S. Department of State has imposed a strict travel ban on the country, making it off-limits for U.S. citizens. The regime's pervasive secrecy and severe human rights violations contribute to its reputation as a highly restricted and dangerous place. Pyongyang, the capital city, is tightly controlled, and visitors are usually only allowed to see a curated version of the city, with guides ensuring they don't stray from the official itinerary. North Korea's nuclear ambitions further exacerbate tensions with the international community, particularly with the United States. The demilitarized zone between North and South Korea remains one of the most fortified borders in the world, symbolizing the ongoing conflict and division on the Korean peninsula. For Americans, North Korea represents a place of mystery and caution. The country's restrictive policies and the U.S. travel ban underscore the severe political and social challenges that continue to define this secretive nation. Traveling to North Korea is not just difficult for U.S. citizens, it is currently impossible, reflecting the deep-seated geopolitical issues at play. Number 2. Iran. Iran, a country with a rich history and vibrant culture, has had a complicated relationship with the United States for decades. Despite moments of diplomatic engagement, the U.S. government currently advises against travel to Iran due to significant safety concerns. The U.S. State Department's travel advisory highlights several risks, including the potential for arbitrary detention, political tensions, and the possibility of conflicts. American travelers may face the risk of being detained or encountering political retaliation, making Iran a highly advised against destination. Tehran, the capital city, is a bustling metropolis that blends modernity with tradition. Iconic landmarks such as the Golestan Palace and the Grand Bazaar offer glimpses into Iran's rich cultural heritage. Isfahan, known for its stunning Islamic architecture, and Shiraz, famous for its historic gardens and poetry, are also significant cultural centers. Despite its historical and cultural allure, the political landscape in Iran remains tense. The strained US-Iran relations and internal political dynamics contribute to an environment that can be perilous for American visitors. While Iran's ancient splendor continues to captivate the imagination, current geopolitical realities necessitate caution and awareness for potential travelers from the United States. Number 3. Syria. Syria, a country with a history that stretches back millennia, is currently one of the most dangerous destinations for travelers. The ongoing civil war and significant instability have rendered the region extremely perilous, particularly for American visitors. The U.S. government has issued a stern travel warning due to the high risk of violence, terrorism, and kidnappings. Cities like Damascus, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, and Aleppo, with its rich historical heritage, once attracted numerous tourists. However, these places have now become synonymous with conflict and destruction. The situation in Syria remains unpredictable, and the danger to travelers is immense. The U.S. State Department strongly advises against travel to Syria. The risks involved are severe, including the possibility of being caught in violent clashes, targeted by terrorist activities, or subjected to kidnappings. For U.S. citizens, the potential for harm is significant, and travel to this region is strongly discouraged. While Syria's historical and cultural significance is profound, the ongoing conflict overshadows its ancient treasures. For the safety of potential travelers, avoiding Syria is imperative until stability and peace are restored to this war-torn nation. Number 4. Libya. Libya, once a destination known for its historical landmarks and Mediterranean coast, has been plagued by political instability and armed conflict since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime. The country's volatile security situation, marked by the presence of armed groups and a fragile government structure, poses substantial risks to travelers. Tripoli, the capital city, and Benghazi, Libya's second-largest city, are central to the ongoing conflict, making them highly dangerous areas. The ancient city of Leptis Magna, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, holds immense historical significance but remains largely inaccessible due to safety concerns. The U.S. Department of State has issued strict travel restrictions to Libya, warning of the high potential for violence, kidnapping, and terrorist activities. The precarious security landscape, compounded by frequent clashes between rival factions, makes travel to Libya exceptionally hazardous for U.S. citizens. Despite its rich cultural heritage and natural beauty, Libya's current situation demands extreme caution. The dangers of traveling to Libya are significant, and the U.S. government strongly advises against it. Until stability and peace are restored, Libya remains a highly unsafe destination for international travelers. Number 5. Yemen. Yemen, a country with a rich history and cultural heritage, is currently one of the most dangerous places for American travelers. The ongoing conflict between Houthi rebels and the internationally recognized government, coupled with severe humanitarian issues, has created an extremely hazardous environment. The capital city, Sana'a, known for its unique architecture and historic sites, has been heavily affected by the conflict. The ancient city of Shabam, often referred to as the Manhattan of the desert due to its towering mud brick skyscrapers, is another cultural treasure that remains largely inaccessible. The U.S. State Department has issued a do not travel warning for Yemen, highlighting the significant risks of violence, terrorism, and the severe lack of emergency services. The country's dire humanitarian situation, marked by widespread famine and disease, further exacerbates the dangers. For U.S. citizens, traveling to Yemen is fraught with peril. The risks of being caught in violent clashes, targeted by terrorist activities, or facing severe medical emergencies without adequate support are substantial. Despite Yemen's historical and cultural richness, the current crisis makes it a highly unsafe destination, necessitating the utmost caution and adherence to travel advisories. Number 6. South Sudan. South Sudan, the world's youngest nation, has experienced ongoing conflict and instability since gaining independence. The U.S. government advises against travel to South Sudan due to frequent violence, armed clashes, and a lack of reliable infrastructure. The security situation remains fluid, and U.S. citizens are cautioned to avoid non-essential travel. Number 7. Venezuela. Political and economic turmoil has plagued Venezuela in recent years, leading to widespread shortages of basic goods and services. The U.S. Department of State has issued travel advisories for Venezuela, highlighting issues such as violent crime, civil unrest, and the risk of detention. The unstable situation has led to restrictions on American travelers. Number 8. Cuba. While Cuba is not entirely off-limits, travel for Americans is subject to specific regulations. The U.S. government restricts travel to Cuba under certain conditions, primarily focusing on ensuring that travel supports specific purposes such as educational or humanitarian activities. Leisure travel is subject to restrictions and requires specific licenses or permissions. Number 9. Central African Republic. The Central African Republic has struggled with conflict and instability, which affects the safety of travelers. The U.S. Department of State has issued a travel warning due to ongoing violence and the presence of armed groups. Travelers are advised to avoid non-essential trips to the car due to these significant risks. Number 10. Russia. Due to recent geopolitical tensions and strained relations between the United States and Russia, travel to Russia has become increasingly complicated for Americans. Although not entirely prohibited, the U.S. government has issued travel warnings due to potential risks including political arrests, harassment, and heightened security measures. Travelers should stay informed about the current situation and any changes in travel advisories. Conclusion. Understanding travel restrictions is crucial for anyone planning international trips. The countries listed above are currently off-limits or highly restricted for American travelers due to a variety of geopolitical, safety, and diplomatic reasons. It's always advisable to stay updated with travel advisories from the U.S. Department of State and other relevant sources before making any travel plans.